Okay, well, let's move on to another seat. Let's now head to Te Taihawauru.
Ko te rohe o te Taihawauru mai kāwhia ki Taranaki, a tai rawa ki ngā tapa taone o Porirua. Ko te tuatahi tēnei o ngā tūru Maori, po te toko maha o ngā tāngata koremahi, me te hunga whiwhi tāku he tūroro. He rohe pūhau tonu, a koia te tino rohe mo te toko maha o ngā tamariki, tai rawa ki te 19 tau te pakeke. Kua mau te kai urungi o te pāti Māori e tari ana tūria, te tūru nei mai te tau 2002 i aia i reipa, a nāna i tū ai te kaupapa o te whānau ora. Ko te kai tono o reipa ko Saraya Peke Mason, he tino kai tautoko o te hāhi rātana. A kua noho i ngā puari me ngā kaunehira o te rohe nei mo ngā tau e iwa. Ko tā mana ko Fred Timutimu no Hātō Tipene, he kai whakaako i ngā take tiriti, a he kai waiata, he kai tito waiata hoki. He tauira whare wānanga a Jack McDonald, te kai tono mo ngā kākariki. A kei te tū ia kia rirotana pāti ngā pōti o te rarangi me mapāremata.
Maria Barge, Tariana Turia, surely a shoo-in.
Yep, I mean, it looks like that. I think the Greens candidate was probably the most interesting of the range of them. A young, rangatahi, fresh face. Unfortunately, this isn't one of those electorates where there's a high Green Party vote or electorate vote.
I dare say, Rawiri Taonui, you agree, Tariana will keep her seat?
Yes, I know, I agree with that.
Okay, can we just move on to another matter, because Tariana Turia, Parekura Horomia, as he's indicated, they're unlikely to stand at the next election. This is likely to be their last election. So pretty much, as Willie was saying before, who their successors will be, or who will take the seat after them.
Yes, well, I think one of the really good things about this electorate has been the emergence of people like Jack McDonald. One of the things that's shown through with the older, more experienced candidates is they've tended to get themselves bogged down in terms of policy and party record going back 10 years, where he's shown a real freshness, a willingness to think outside of the square, give his personal opinion alongside policy, and I think that's really exciting.
Do Māori
for the
voters
futures.
Turn off when they start talking about policy?
Yes, I think given the uncertainty of the economy at the present, people are not interested in what you've done for the last 10 years. They're interested in what you're going to do now and in the future. They want the politicians to understand them, understand the issues and commit to people, and they're looking for that heart and soul in this election. Willie
Jackson, how much of this, the Māori seat contest, if you like, is about personality?
A lot of it is there. A lot of it is there, because whether you're Māori or Pākehā, a lot of people switch off on personality, on policy,
and they look towards personality.
Why do you think Winston Peters has done so well in the past? He's the prime example of that, and that's why a Parekura will shine through, because he's sort of bigger than life in many ways.
Okay, we will talk about Winston hopefully a little later on, but now let's look at Waiariki.
Ko te rohe pōti o te Waiariki e whakakākahu nei ia tauranga, ia whakatāne, ia rotorua, ia taupō hoki. Tata ki te 83 mano ngā Māori e noho ana i te wāhi nei, a e 24 te taupake ke toharite, 35 te taupake ke toharite o Aotearoa Whānui. Ko te aitua I Rina I Hauraki me ngā kreme o tūhoi e noho nei hei kaupapa matua hei whai mā te mema pāremata I mua I te kōwhiringa pōti e heke mai nei. Ko te ururoa Flavel te mema pāremata mo te pāti Māori, a ko maui ia e te tūru o te Waiariki mai te tau 2005. Ko Annex Sykes he roi anō mana, he wahine e rongonu I whānui tia ana, a te āhua nei ka ore pea te waka o te ururoa I aia. He roi anō a Lui te kani, te kaitono a reipa, kei te matua whai ia kia whai mahi ngā tangata o te rohe nei.
Maria Barge, some have predicted that this could be quite a close race between Te Ururoa Flavel, the incumbent, and Annette Sykes from the Mana Party. Your thoughts?
Well, Annette certainly has a long history and experience with campaigning, so she's got that down pat. I think one of the interesting things about this electorate is you can basically draw a line down the middle. The entire east part of the electorate is a bright red in terms of poverty, and the west side a little greener. So in terms of targeting their campaigns, each of the candidates needs to think about this huge area where people are really poor.
What are your thoughts on that, Rawiri Taonui? Annette Sykes, Te Ururoa Flavel, do you think it's going to be a close race?
I think in terms of campaigning, I'm really impressed with Annette. I think she's a natural politician who response to questions about the environment have been absolutely comprehensive. If there was a person, regardless of party, I would like to see go into Parliament, a new Maori MP would be Annette Sykes. Is she going to beat Tūruroa Flavel? I think his lead's too big.
Do you agree with that, Willie Jackson,
Yeah,
quickly?
I think Rawiri's right, but she's a brilliant candidate, no doubt about it.
Well, because you've been in Parliament, do you think that she would work? Would she gel with the place if she got it?
Absolutely. Absolutely, you need that. Māori need that type of representation in there. She's an absolute firebrand, and I don't know if that's going to do it for her in Waiariki. You know, it's also the tikanga's a bit tough on the old wahine down there too, isn't it? So she's up against all of that down there. But it'll be interesting to see what that Te Karere poll is tomorrow, Shane. You
Absolutely.
We'll find out.
And we will find out tomorrow, Willie Jackson. OK, let's look south now to Te Taitonga.
Ko te taitonga te rohe nui o ngā tūru tō rangapū, mai te tonga o Poneke ki te waipaunamu whakawhiti atu ki ngā motu o Rakiura me Reko. He nui ngā kai tō rangapū motu hake, kua noho hei mema mo te tūru nei I roto e ngā tau ko tahi rau e whā te kaumātoru kua hipa. Mai ngā tau toru te kau kua mau I a reipa te tūru mo te nuinga o ngā tau. Ka mutu e rua nui ho ngā pāti, ko Aotearoa tuatahi me te pāti Māori kua riro I te tūru nei. Ko rāhui kā tene o te pāti Māori te kaitiaki o te tūru nei, kua tukuna māna e tauwhiro I te mano tāngata. Kua kaha Pākehā I te rū whenua me te aitua I pā ki ngā kaikiri waro. Ko tā reipa ko rino tiri kā tene te mokopunaanga tokorua kai tō rangapū rongonui o mua, kei te whakapaitia ka whai pōti ia nā tōna whakapapa. Ko Dora Langsbury o te pāti kā kāriki no o tākau, I tā piri atu I te kaupai hīneti ki ana pōti I te tau 2008. Ko Clinton Dearlove no te pāti mana, no whāngarei, no waitaha hoki, e remurere ana ki te hauora me te mātauranga.
Rawiri, do you think that this would be the most vulnerable seat for the Māori Party to retain?
Yes, I think if you went back 1 month, you'd say that Rino Tidikatini would take the seat based on heritage, a bit of a swing to Labour and Ngaitahu.
So what's changed now?
Two things. I think Clinton Dearlove is a new factor, good-looking, quick-witted, nice smile, well-spoken, like all
good
Northern
personality,
men.
as we were talking about before.
Nice personality.
Good Ngāti pro, ne?
But I think that also when Rahui Kātini got dropped down the list to 11 and then she hopped off, I think she's really got fired up. So I expect a much closer race. And if I was picking it, I would say depending on the number of votes that Clinton Dearlove gets, that'll decide who wins between Rahui and Te Rino.
What are your thoughts on that, Maria?
Well, I agree partly with what Rawiri's saying, but what I'm interested in is to see whether Clinton Dearlove starts eating into Labour's lead there, and then we'll see perhaps Rahui come through the middle.
No,
Willie Jackson, you're shaking your head.
No, it won't happen that way. With respect, Maria, he will eat into the Māori Party vote. And Rahui is a statistic of the fight between Mana and the Māori
So you're
Party.
predicting Labour to take this seat back?
Yeah, Rino will take the seat, unfortunately. It should have been a Māori Party seat. She's been a very good worker and a very good MP, but Clinton Dearlove is sort of perhaps the star in terms of the Māori seats. They're calling him Hurricane, and he could get up towards 10% of the vote.
Briefly, what do we make of Rahui's low list ranking? She was on the program last week and she wasn't happy. Rawiri, what do you make of that?
It's mystifying. I mean, you can understand why the Māori Party would put a lot of young people up on the list if Pita and Tariana are retiring, but then to drop Tūruroa down and to drop Rahui down without Rahui's consent looks like a bit of a kick in the guts, and that probably undermined her in the seat, but as I said before, it's also fired her up. So I'd agree with Willie, leans a bit to Labour, but we'll see. OK, we've got to move on because here's our last seat, because as our debate a few weeks ago showed, the Tokerau is the most hotly contested seat in this election.
Ko te tai Tokerau te rohe raki o Aotearoa, mai te reinga ki te ururawa o Tāmaki. I mau ia reipa tēnei tūru mo te nuinga o te rautau rua te kau. No ngā tau te kaumārima ko pahure, kua riro e ngā ropu e whā tēnei tūru, ko Aotearoa tuatahi, ko reipa ko te pāti Māori me mana. No nā tata nei rere atu ai ngā heitara e ki ana, kaore anō ngā kaitu o te rohe nei, kia tino hāpa I te iwi Māori o te tai Tokerau e noho taka o ngenei. Kei a Hone Harawira te tūru o te tai Tokerau I tēnei wā, Ā, ko ia te kaiurungi o te pāti o mana. Me mātua riro i aia tēnei tūru kia tomo atu tana pāti ki te whare pāremata. I te tau 2008 i hinga tārei pakaitono a Calvin Davis i a Hone mai te 6 pōti. Engari nō nā tata nei i te kōwhiringa pōti whāiti o te tai Tokerau i kūmea kia tata a rāua pōtitanga ko tōna ko 1 pōti i waenga i a rāua. Nei te kita o Ngāti Hine a Waihoroi Shortland kei te ike-iketanga o te rārangi Pāti Māori. Nā whai anō te nui o te whakataetai mo te tūru nei i te kōwhiringa pōti e kainamu nei.
Willie Jackson, you think the Māori Party have quite a tactical strategy here just to get rid of Hone Harawira. Tell us about that.
That's their strategy. Kill Hone. Kill Hone, they kill mana. They're the only option in terms of Māori voters. And if you've watched Wassy Shortland, all he's doing is everything Hone says is wrong. He's done nothing for the people up north. He's running a great campaign and he doesn't know much about policy.
Do you think they'll be successful in that?
No, I don't. I think Hone's also running a great campaign. He has the advantage being the mana leader, so he's up on all the debates right across the spectrum. But there's just one job for Wassy, kill Hone, and if he kills Hone, he could be the next Māori Party leader.
OK, those are the 7 Māori seats. Let's talk about party vote, because we do have 2 votes this time round. Maria Barge, New Zealand First. Winston Peters, the party, they're making a bit of a comeback. Will he make it back, do you think?
Well, I mean, we'll wait and see. You can never write him off. But if we look at the party vote, the New Zealand First party vote has been pretty much stable in the Māori electorates over the last couple of elections. The Green party vote has been increasing, as has the National Party vote between 2005 and 2008. Labour, of course, has been dropping over that time.
OK, so we won't write Winston Peters off. What about the Greens this time around, Rawiri Taonui? They're looking interesting this time around.
With deep sea drilling and the Rena disaster, worldwide concern about the environment, the Greens are really sitting in a good place, I think. The other interesting things with the party vote in the Māori electorates, Labour's dropping way down, a lot of that's going to mana. Mana want to look to be averaging around 20% in the Māori electorates on the party vote, and that might translate into a second seat.
Do you think they may get a second seat?
I think they might. I wouldn't be surprised.
What about you, Willie Jackson?
I think Annette Sykes will come through on the list. I don't think she'll win the Waiariki, but I think...
but potentially on the list?
1.4% will get Annette through, and I think it'd be great if she got through. OK,
Labour, because Labour does seem to still have that stronghold on the Māori seats, even though the party vote support may be dropping a little, there is still a lot of support there.
Labour will probably pick up 3 seats. They'll pick up 3 seats, but in a general sense, they're struggling. If they can get to 32, 33%, though, they're back in the game, because the Greens are looking at about 10 to 12%, and Winston's going to get up.
OK, Maria Barge, National, because there is some Māori support for National. And how do you think that's going to go?
Well, it seems to be increasing. I mean, we're seeing that one of the coalition partners that national supporters are looking at are the Greens. We know Green support as well is increasing in those seats. So an interesting combination could be there between Green and Blue.
Briefly, because we have to wrap up very shortly, but we've also got a referendum this time around. What should Māori voters be thinking about and what should they be doing? Rawiri Taonui?
MMP, more Māori in Parliament. Having said that, you have to think that some of the other options, preferential voting, could in fact translate to 12 independent Māori seats. But in an open referendum might end up going first past the post.
But your preference is MMP?
I think that's where
we agree with that
absolutely,
briefly?
Yeah.
MMP?
Absolutely.
And that means more Māori in Parliament?
We want more.
Thank you all
Winston
very much.
will lead the charge.
Well, we'll have to wait and see.
Back.
Thank you very much. We will wait with bated breath to see how things transpire. But thank you very much for joining us.
Kia ora.